Starting. Okay. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. We on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, wherever you are. And this is our second live event on EvalBI's Facebook page, or EvalBI as a community, as a company. We are a company who believes that learning and development is the course for the future. And as part of that, we have today a serial entrepreneur who has been helping startups in various ways, getting them vision, getting them focus, and many different ways. Probably I cannot comprehend the way I can really introduce her with that said, but Supriya has been a very good friend and a great friend. With that said, rather than me, why don't I have Supriya introduce about herself? And Supriya, why don't you introduce yourself? And first of all, thanks a lot for taking this event for us.
Sure. Thank you, Raghav, for the opportunity. And hello, everybody. And thank you for joining this on a Sunday afternoon, like Raghav said. Really appreciate that. My name is Supriya Kalia, and I have actually been a founder of 3 businesses in very different verticals. I've also mentored various small business owners, mostly a less than 5 people company, taught at a New York City tech incubator last year, mostly in marketing and sales. And I'm here to deliver value to you today, mostly a tool that is used by most founders, co-founders, owners, which make them really scratch their heads and get things penning on paper in the most visual manner so that they have the bigger picture of their company. So I guess hope this delivers value to all of you.
I mean, obviously, Supriya, thanks for it and what you've been doing. I think it definitely delivers value. I see people joining in. Just wanted to let you know people are joining in. Whenever you are ready, we can actually get into the content too, if you want.
Sure, absolutely. So just some ground rules here. You can ask your questions in between, and Raghav, feel free to stop me at that point, and in the chat, if you can moderate the questions and let me know what those questions are, I'll address them slide by slide.
Sure. Yeah. Do you want me to share the content?
Yes, please. If we can get to the slide of the deck. Yeah.
Okay. So let me just do this. And why don't I do this? Quick screen share. Okay. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Raghav. All right.
You can also manage the screen if you want. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Yes, I think I have the controls. Just quickly seeing the controls, testing that out. All right. So today we are learning about the business model canvas, which is a very strategic tool, but this is especially geared towards business model canvas for startups. I also call it, and it's generally known as the BMC, as you can see written it as it's written here. I'm unable to drive it, Raghav.
That's fine. I'll quickly give you control. Otherwise,
sure.
Yeah, you should have the control now.
Yes, this is good. Thank you. All right. So a quick poll over here for all of you. How many of you have experienced any of these situations? And on the right-hand side, you will see about 4 bullets here where, it'll tell you you have never known how to do this or have required help with any of these. So can we in the chat, I think we will also, just mute Raghav, everybody else. Sorry about the technical issue. And I think we're kind of skipping slides. 1 second. Right, so we were on this slide here where I would like a poll from the audience. If you have experienced any of the above situations, 1 through 4, if you can type in the chat window, which one have you experienced? You can just put #1 or #4, #2, #3, whatever that is. And we'll give this like 30 seconds. So Raghav, I guess you can see the chat window and you are on mute right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to see some comments on this section and I was trying to see who are all there. We have like 4 viewers.
Okay.
I don't have any specific uh, questions yet, but I have Sanjeev. Okay, number 1, number 3.
Okay.
Sanjay says he has a question on number 3.
Okay.
Sanjeev Joshi says question on number 1. Yep.
All right.
I mean, they're
So,
experiencing that. Yes.
right. Sure. I think at that point, I will just take the questions for number 1 and 3. Sanjay and Sanjeev, if you can just put your questions in the chat window, please.
I have Samir also asking about number 4 now.
All
Samir
right.
Tendulkar.
All right. We'll also take the question for Samir. I am not able to see the chat window, Raghav, but if you can.
I'll be the moderator because
Sure.
you're on. Yeah. So yeah, I think they are trying to put in their questions. So I think many of them definitely. I mean, I see 1, 3, and 4. I mean, if you see there is a standard pitch here, Supriya, there is a design and align your company to a bigger picture. A visual business plan is missing, and of course, the strategic direction is what I think the comments are coming around. They're trying to put in their comments. So Samir, Sanjeev, and Sanjay, whatever questions you have in, please put in on your comments, and Supriya will try. I'll moderate that. Supriya attends those questions.
Yes, thank you, Raghav.
Yep. While they put in, I mean,
Yes,
if you if you want to move forward, because I think that's good too. Sometimes people need help. How do they really want to take the question too? So I would suggest go ahead and start, and I'll looks like number 1, 3, and 4 is what your viewers are looking at.
So I will throw a little light on number 1, 3, and 4 on this slide. Basically, whenever a business plan is required for a business and you need financing, you want to get to the bank or raise some funding for your business, generally the thought is that, okay, let's write a 50 to 80 page business plan, take it to the bank, get our funding, take it to the investors, the VCs. But what happens is those business plans often get dumped in the trash can. Nobody looks at it at large. They really want is the executive summary, and even better, what works for them is a visual chart. So a business model canvas helps explain everything about your business in a very pictorial fashion, and also sets the strategic direction. It's more of the bare bones of the skeleton of your business. And if you take that to an investor or a bank, of course, they're going to look at that and they're going to need the financials. But I'll get to that part later, what this BMC can further extend into. But this is like the beginning of it, where you can, unless asked by a bank, you really do not need to devise a business plan. You can really use this because in the early startup phase, the business is changing so much that you need to keep setting and resetting the direction. And the BMC model works perfectly for that.
And I think that is where I think one of the questions from Sanjeev comes in, Supriya, is like, what we have is a very broad view of what the company will do. It's getting to the specifics that is a current challenge for them. How do you know from a very broad canvas to a very narrow focused view to get one that gets you to specific products? So that is where Sanjeev is trying to look at.
So thank you, Sanjeev, for that question. And once we dwell into the model, as we dive into the model, you will see how it can be narrowly focused and how we can get into the specifics of each section. However, this tool is meant for strategic purposes or strategic planning. And I'll get to the next part so that everybody can look at the tool and get a better sense of it. All right, what is the business model canvas? It's a visual chart. meant to design, invent, improve your business model. Um, it's also a one-page summary to set your strategic direction of the company and take your product or service to market. It is essentially composed of 9 building blocks, and they help you streamline on how your company can make money across 4 different business areas, which is how are you going to go across and give value to your customers? What are your offerings going to be like? How will your infrastructure support your company? And what is the financial viability of it? All right. So the meat of it. This is what the business model canvas looks like. So if you see, there are 9 boxes over here, right from on the left, key partners, all the way to the right, customer segments. And today, what we are doing is, firstly, I'll explain why should you use it, and then we'll get into designing, a little bit on the BMC and how it can be used. So as per, why should you use it? For early stage founders, when you use these 9 building blocks on the business model canvas, they form the strategic elements of your business. And when you utilize them, they have the greatest impact on driving your growth. So it's mostly based on some kind of systematic thinking, and hence it lets you view everything from a 10,000-foot level. Now, when it comes to speed, again, in early stage startups, consistency is key, precision is key, and it's very important because, preparing a business plan would take a lot of time, but you really need to be fast, and you need to make sure you're doing it correctly. You're moving in a very agile manner, that you're focused and you're fast. So that ties into 1 and 2. Also, it's important to change things in the beginning of your model, in the beginning stages of your startup. So that brings us to changeability. That, okay, how are we going to keep changing things, and how are we going to iterate and reiterate and iterate and reiterate? Because once you do that on paper or on a deck, it is pretty difficult. So the way this model is used is really, it's a brainstorming exercise where you use post-it notes, and you're literally in each box, you're sticking your post-it notes. And that's how, whenever you need something to be changed, you take out the post-it note and put another one there. So that way it helps you move faster and change things faster. So there's a way that this BMC is used with post-it notes. How else will it benefit? It's in a very standard form. So let's say you want to share with your partners or your co-founders or your investors, and you want to get their feedback or you want to get their update, right? So this is a very standard form, and everybody would, who at least knows about this business model can look at it and understand. It's also pretty intuitive, so it's very easy to understand. And hence you would want to use this. Sorry, oops. I started subtitles, but that was not my intention. But anyhow.
I mean, do you want me to, all you need to say, don't allow, that's it.
Yes, yes, please.
Probably
right.
You click on that, yeah.
Yep. All right, so what we are learning in the remainder of this session in 45 minutes is these 9 building blocks, how they can be filled out, what are the approaches to filling out this business model, and what are the common mistakes to avoid. What's not covered in this model is customization as per your business, right? So I'm going to take one example and go through each building block. First, I'll tell you, what the building block is about, what it should cover, and then I'll give you an example. But it's not going to cover or be customized to your business. All right. So the first one is value proposition. The way you approach the business model is there are 2 approaches. Either if you are coming from a market perspective and you know the market very well, you can actually start from customer segments. But if you say, no, I really don't know my markets very well. What I really know is my product. I have a product idea, I know what my product or services can do for the customer, then value proposition is a good place to start. And in value proposition, the questions you would be answering in this block with sticky notes or post-it notes are, what problem do you solve for your customers in terms of your product or service? What value do you deliver to your customer? Oops, sorry, the slides keep jumping. I think it's my bad. Right. So what customer needs are you satisfying? Basically, why is the customer buying your service, and what is of value to them? And how is it differentiated from what everybody else is offering in the market? So that would come under value proposition. Now,
So are you saying research will help them, Supriya, in this area of value proposition if they are not able to generate value?
Right. So it also means seeing what others are offering as compared to you and saying that, okay, we are offering them and this is our unique proposition. I'm not saying that it should be like a market differentiator, because that could be niche market, mass market, but I'm saying it could be, what are we doing differently than our competitors? What is the value that we are providing to our customers so that, nobody else can offer that. Now, it could be services, it could be, and it could be quantitative, it could be qualitative when it comes to value proposition. So in quantitative, your value proposition could be pricing. A lot of businesses in the beginning choose pricing. They say, okay, we are going to compete on price because we are competitive, we'll be the most economical, best services, speed of service, that will be our value proposition. But, competing just on price does not go very far in my experience. It has to be coupled with a couple of other factors like, your niche, your differentiators, anything else, which is, and we can go on and on this, but like I said, it's either quantitative or it's qualitative. And qualitative part would be like, okay, our value proposition is that we offer a customer experience which is much different than competition. Our designs are most unique for our skill sets that we offer. Our resources along with our design are, a great combination. So your value proposition could mean any of the following. It could, save time for your customer. It could be a cost reduction. Let's say you have a platform, or let's say a B2C product, right? So it could like save time, or, give the customer a feel-good factor. So that could be your value proposition. These are some of the examples. Anybody has any questions on this particular slide?
I'll probably moderate on that, Supriya. I think since this is one question, what we have from Sanjeev is like, how does one go about determining additional variables that apply to one's own business, or is that arrived at iteratively? I mean, how do they know what are the additional variables? How do they really determine I'm already running a business, I need to add value to what existing, and how is that? Is that iteratively, or how do they really go about it? Sanjeev, if did I put it right, or you can comment on it, but that's the question, Supriya, here.
Okay, so let's say you already have an existing model and you want to iterate your value proposition, right? If I'm getting that correct. So for iterating on your value proposition, you really need to look at competition and see what they are offering, and you'll get a fair picture of where you stand in the market, because that's going to be your reference point. Okay, so let's say, I am doing my resources along with, the designs that we offer, UX designs are pretty good, right? But I would know how to iterate this better in terms of value proposition. So then I would go and look at competition in the market and see, what my competitors are really doing. Where is their edge? Are they offering better customer service? Are their maintenance plans better? Are they, what is it that they are offering better than me or something that I'm not offering? So to iterate it, you can also look at, like they say, the world is a catalog. It's your catalog. So look at your competitors and compare yourself, and you'll have a good benchmark of where you stand.
Right. I think I have one more question. Probably
Sure.
I'll take it. Like it's like from Sanjeev again. So once you did the iterative process, I mean, we can
Mhm.
go further, or you want to do it in the next slide. It's up to you. But he's saying that there are 9 variables. Are there any? So I'll exactly read word by word. You have listed 9 variables. Are there others that are specific to our business that we need to generate as we go along defining the business? If so, is there a process that one follows? So uh, it's more a process based question than a building based question, is what I feel.
So I guess the answer is that this particular tool will only help you define, the strategic elements of your business when it comes to these components, these variables over here, which you can see, the 9 variables, right? And it'll help you define those, but it'll also help you see their relationship with each other. And as I go to the next slide, you will understand what I'm trying to say. So right now we started with value proposition, right? You want to understand, okay, this is our value proposition, but how does it tie into our customer segments, right? So we go to the next slide and we say, okay, how does our value proposition tie in with our customer segments? How does it serve our customers, right? Who are these customers? What are they like? And are we targeting a small community? Are we targeting the mass market? Are we targeting, like, a certain sector, a certain vertical? What are the demographics like? So after you have determined that, okay, this is our product and this is what our product or service will offer to our customers, then you want to, like, tie it in with who these customers are. So the way this BMC model works is it is beautifully tied in together. So we work on the right half of the BMC canvas, which delivers value. And then the left half of the BMC canvas delivers the cost. That to deliver your offering, what will it cost you? So it's a very holistic view in a very strategic manner. So when it comes to customer segments, right? So I also said that I will fill in it with certain examples, right? So I'm taking the example of, let's say, a business who wants to, a consulting business, right? That's the example. And I'll go back to value proposition because I did not give you the example over there. So the value proposition for a consulting service business who does cloud implementations would be, a value proposition would be, what are their problems that they're trying to solve? They are trying to help businesses who do not want to maintain infrastructure in-house. They're helping them migrate to the cloud. They're helping them manage and maintain their servers. So their value proposition is that they are doing cloud implementations in a sense. Now, the same business, which is the consulting service business doing cloud implementations for their customers, who are their customers? So their customers would be, sorry, their customers would be startups, because often startups are the ones who do not have money to invest in servers, in server rooms, in resources. So these are pre-seed stage startups. And they could have certain locations, certain niche, certain demographic, certain target personas, certain ideal customer profiles. So you want to, like, define. So let's say for this consulting business, who's doing cloud implementations, their customers would be pre-seed stage startups, less than 8 employees, less than $1 million in revenue, in New York City, in, let's say, the wellness and e-commerce verticals. Uh, and of course, you can go and refine it even more and more and more. And you can say, okay, this is my target group. This is what their customer persona looks like. This is the ideal customer profile of the customer. So In each of these boxes, you can actually go ahead and keep refining to a point where you have the exact specifics.
Okay.
All right. So anybody has any questions on this slide?
No, I don't think customer segments, we don't have any questions
Okay.
as of now, but if anybody has any questions on customer segments, please do. But so customer segments is the second building block.
That's right.
Okay.
So now we have looked at, what is the product or service going to do in terms of value proposition and for whom it's going to do, the customer segments. So the third building block we come to is, channels. Oops. All right, my bad. I am not able to. Sorry, the symbol keeps going
Yeah, do
backwards.
let me know if you want me to handle it, Supriya, but I can. Yeah.
Sure.
So we are in the channels. Yep.
Yes. So now we want to see how do we reach our product or service to these customers through what kind of channels? How do we deliver our service or how do we deliver our product to these customers? So you want to think about channels, not in just terms of marketing channels, because often we'll say, oh, let's, advertise, let's, do it online, offline, think about the various marketing channels. Let's do a webinar, let's run some ads on Google, let's do some, marketing. But here channels also means, communication channels and distribution channels and supply channels. How well are these channels integrated? So when it comes to supply channels, taking the same tech consulting company that I spoke of, right, who's doing cloud implementations, what would their marketing or supply or distribution channels look like? It would look like supply channels could be they are actually delivering their cloud implementation projects through technical managers, account managers, developers, right? So they need these resources. So these are going to be their supply channels. What are going to be their distribution channels? Their distribution channels would be, what are the processes they are using? What are the systems they are using to make this a success for the customer? So they also need to account for those, including the marketing channels, which is a big one, right? And the marketing channels could be for this company could be like, in-person events, remote events, like trade shows, meetups. They could be online events, like, online platforms like LinkedIn, Crunchbase, and all the, Angel. It could be ads like Google, like a lot of tech companies use Google search keywords, of course, as an advertising medium. So these would be, consider your marketing, supply, distribution, communication channels, which will make your company, meaning your product or service, a success for your customer. So you want to account for all of these channels under channels.
All right. Can we say omni-channel mindset?
Right. So correct. Omni-channel mindset. But of course, it's not, like I said, just narrowed to marketing. Omni-channel covering marketing, communication, distribution, supply, all of them, how well they're integrated and how cost efficient they are to be able to deliver your value proposition.
Great.
Correct.
Okay. No questions on this as of now. Yeah, we can keep continuing.
All right. So once we have seen how these value proposition is going to be delivered to your customers through these channels, the next thing we want to know is customer relationships. How are you going to keep your customers? Now you have, let's say, 2 clients, right? You want to get onto your 3rd, 4th, 5th, but you also want to keep them and you want to grow them in a way that's repeatable and scalable. So how do you do that? How do you interact with your customers so that you can sustain them and make sure they are your loyal customers? So it will also depend on how much support does your company provide, right? In terms of what are your support processes? So let's again take the example of this cloud implementation services that this consulting company offers to its clients. And their customer relationship block would have something like, okay, we will notify and communicate via Slack, via Zoom. These are standard processes that we use to make sure that our customers are happy. We'll make sure all communication and notification is going through our account managers, our technical managers, at least 2 tiers of it, and the lead is also marked on it. Basically, you want to think about what's your quality promise to your customers. What is it that you are doing to keep your customer happy? You have got the customer, but what's next? How are you going to keep the customer? How are you going to make sure that they remain your loyal customer? What's your quality promise to them? Or, a consulting company could be things like, oh, our quality promise is, and I'm taking the example of this consulting company, but it could also be a product. It could be things like our product has so many upgrades, we offer so much maintenance, or this is our SLAs, this is our support contracts. We come back with as early as less than 24 hours via email, via chat. And for consulting companies or services companies, it could be things like we use certain standard systems or processes, like, let's say a lot of startup companies use Asana, right? So we use Asana to make sure that, our customers are well informed what's happening. We have reviews, weekly reviews. We convey milestones to our customers. We also make sure we get approvals and sign-offs early on when we have the requirements. So these are the things that give the customer the satisfaction that they need, and makes them say, oh, you know what? I think I like this. I think I'm happy with the way they work, right? So you want to be in that space. Any QA, QC that if your services or your product does offer, your services does offer.
So is there a certain methodology, like I'll go back to Sanjeev's question, probably if it is at the right moment here. Is there a certain process you have seen where we can build these customer relationships or customer interaction? We can take the question offline also, or do you have any steps how we can make our customers happy or something like that, Supriya? Because it looks like it's a very process-based question, so I thought this is the right moment to ask.
It's process-based. It's also very entity-based, right? So if your company is a services company, and depending on what services it's offering, whatever your value proposition is, it will depend solely on that, what you're ready to support for your customer, right? So let's say if I was a tech consulting company, I would say, all right, I am going to make sure we get approvals and sign-offs, and this will contribute towards the happiness of the customer. The customer is going to be like, oh, I think they will inform me well in advance. I will know what's happening. They'll keep me in the loop. And communication is a big one, right? So it's part of the process, but it's very individual based on how you want to do it, and how the co-founders want to do it. What's their comfort level? How much support they can provide is very individualistic to your product or service, and also to your if I may say, your bandwidth, right?
Right.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think that does answer my question, and probably Sanjeev's question too. Otherwise, I'll definitely follow. We'll definitely follow up with you, Sanjeev. So looks like what Supriya is trying to mention with that specific question is, you were trying to say there are 9 variables we need to generate if there are any process or so, and what else. Probably the best way till now is know your customer, establish relationship, understand the customer, and from there move on. But yeah, I think that's one question. What Sanjeev asked relates very well here. So yeah, that's the reason I interrupted here. But I think, yeah, you can keep moving, and I'll have, and just an appeal out there to all the viewers. Keep your questions coming in. I'll have Supriya answer them at the right moment again. Thanks, Supriya. Please continue.
Sure. Okay. The next one is revenue streams. So we've discussed about our product service, how we're going to provide it to our customers, which customers, how we're going to provide it through which channels, how we're going to keep up with it through our customer relationships. And then, the last part of this right-hand side of the canvas is the revenue streams, that how are we going to generate money out of all of this? Through our service or product, how are we going to generate that cash from our customer segments? So basically, the customer, you want to think of it in this way, right? What is the customer willing to pay for, right? And a lot of times it could be, let's say you have a freemium model, which is you have a product that you've launched, which is free for the customers. Let's say it's a B2C product, right? You're offering it for free. But then how are you going to make money on it? The question is often asked, can we really make money on it? Yes, you can make money on it. But then you have to make sure you nail it. What is the customer willing to pay, right? Which is a multi-sided platform. You say, okay, I will connect, let's say, advertisers to a big customer database, and then I'll, make my money through these advertisers, right? So that's one way to do it. So you want to, for let's say the tech consulting company that I spoke of, right, who's doing cloud implementations, how are they going to make their money? They're going to make their money through project implementations, right? Let's say they do a cloud migration for a startup company, and they install their systems on an AWS cloud or an Azure cloud, and they say, okay, we've moved, you're set up on this cloud, your project is now over. The next revenue stream could be, platform maintenance for them. They can charge their customers platform maintenance. They could say, okay, we'll manage your cloud, right? We'll manage your servers. We'll send you daily notifications, weekly notifications. We'll do the maintenance for you. Another revenue stream for the same company could be customer support, right? They say, okay, the systems went down, AWS was down for a little while. What happened there? Now, customer support would entail that this consulting company communicates to the client, the servers were down for so much time, and this is how the data was backed up, this is where it was backed up, make sure everything is in working order, right? So your revenue streams could be multiple things, which is either project implementations, it could be platform maintenance, it could be customer support. How are you making your money, essentially? And what is the customer willing to pay for? And then you also, let's say if you are a B2C platform, right? You want to see, let's say if you are a SaaS company, right? You have a SaaS product. What are the customers, how do they want to pay? Are they, is it a self-service model? Is it, do they have to, pay you through quick chase pay? Do they have to? So you want to be able to write down all of this in your revenue streams. How are you going to make it? What are the channels? How are your customers going to pay it? Are they willing to pay it through those channels? And how do you generate cash from these customer segments? So let's say if you have two kind of customer segments, right? You have startups who need, let's say, cloud implementations, and you have mid-sized enterprises who need cloud migration from their existing in-house servers to the cloud, right? These are two separate customer segments. So you could be making money from both of them, right? And you want to think about that and put all those factors in the revenue stream box.
Absolutely. I think it makes sense. No specific questions around that, but I think revenue, these real life examples really help bring this to life. Yep. Thanks a lot, Sanjay. This, I think these real life examples are really helping our viewers, Supriya. I think it's revenue streams is one of the most important areas. Everybody wants to make money, of course. So,
yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Very happy to hear that, Raghav.
Yeah.
All right. So we've covered the right-hand side of the canvas, which are those 5 blocks. And then we move now to the left side, starting from key partners, activities, resources, and cost structure. And then I want to jump on, to the next slide. which is key activities. So once we start looking at the left side, we want to start from key activities, that what are the activities that the company must do to make sure that its business is in working order? What are the most important activities, basically, that set you apart from your competition? And it could be things like, again, let's take the example of this services company, right? The key activities for the services company could be cloud migration, cloud implementation. It could be building reports, right? Because once everybody's migrated their server, they want to do something with their data, right? So you could say, okay, building reports is another activity. It could be maintenance of these cloud servers. And then let's say you want to extend all of this further on, and you want to say, you know what, I think I'm also going to provide resources to my clients who are going to be cloud developers. So I'll get into the resourcing part also. So these could be your key activities. And you would want to, depending on how far you want to go or how narrow you want to go, how far you want to stretch yourself or how less you want to stretch yourself, you would write your key activities that, okay, I am going to do, these 2 things, 3 things, 4 things, 5 things, depending on your bandwidth. Again, this is very, very custom. Let's say for a product company, it could be something like, so again, if it's a SaaS product, right, the key activities could be, will provide software downloads, right? You want to make sure that's happening, your customers are able to do it. Software upgrades, software downloads, self-service model, where they're able to go and buy the subscription themselves, right? So these are your key activities where you're enabling the customer as well, along with that being your core.
Correct.
All right. Any questions on this one?
As of now, no. Probably let's give a moment before they ask questions. So key activities, Supriya, you're trying to say, like, for my entire business model to work, probably I like the one which you said about the product company, that okay, I might have a free product right now unless and until I have people coming and downloading. So let's say I have like 10,000 downloads, only then probably I really see there is a business case and this model is really working. Probably something that's a good way to relate it. Probably, you think so?
Not really, because key activities is really your, again, it ties very closely with your value prop. But think of it this way. Let's say if your value prop, your service is cloud implementation. Within cloud implementation, what are the sub activities that you would want to do, which are still key? You would want to do maintenance. You would want to do resourcing. You would want to do any complementary, supplementary activities around that.
Okay.
Right. So you want to think about your value prop, and you want to say, these are the activities around my services that I want to do. Right. Because value prop is not just answering the question, what are your services? It's offering more than that. How is your service unique? How is your service bringing value to the customer? What benefit is it providing to the customer? Whereas key activities is actually saying, these are the features of the product. These are the key services that I'm offering.
Right.
Yeah, so that would be the distinction.
Completely makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, sure. You're welcome.
I do not have any specific questions on this, so I think probably we can move on to the next one.
All right. So next would be key resources. Once you have your activities, then you want to see that, who are the key resources required, who would be supporting these activities, right? What is the infrastructure and the resources that you need, both, in order to deliver what you have said you will deliver. So it could be, again, the key resources in this, cloud implementation company could be, they need cloud architects, they need cloud developers, they could need project managers, they could need account managers, they could have business analysts. So depending on, if one person is wearing multiple hats or not, and however they want to, set that up, these would be the key human resources. But you also want to see in terms of what is your infrastructure needs in terms of resources. Do we need to use Asana to deliver the cloud implementation project to the client? Do we need Zoom? Do we need WebEx? What is in terms of infrastructure needs? What else do we need to make sure we have all these software resources, hardware resources, human resources in place so that we are able to deliver our services, right? I'll jump on to the next slide because we are 15 minutes away and I want to give everybody a chance to answer this, ask their questions. So the eighth one is key partners. And here you want to see who do you need to make your product or your services model work, right? Now, that does not mean just your founders, co-founders. It also means any other business partners that you work with in this ecosystem. And it could be your suppliers. It could be your, again, developers, your vendors. It could be collaborators. It could be alliances that you work with, your strategic alliances. So, who does your company need as key partners to work with and make sure, this can be a success? And what are the motivations behind using these key partners? So you want to think in terms of, so let's say, again, taking the example of this consulting company, they do cloud implementation projects. So their strategic alliances could be they are an AWS partner, or they are a Google partner, or an Azure partner, right? Their legal partnership requirement could be they are a minority-owned business. This could be another one. That, okay, for us to be able to work and get those deals, those contracts, we really need this certification. We need these alliances. We need to be minority owned. We need to have, of course, the key resources. Like, let's say if it's a consulting company, again, your pool, your key resources or key partners are going to be your developers, right? Because you need your technical team, you need that bandwidth. But other than that, you also want to think in terms of outside the circle of this core. Who else do we liaise with? Who are these people that we need to make ourselves a success? All right, I will jump on to the last one, which is cost structure. Sorry, did you have any questions or anybody had questions, Raghav?
No, I don't see any questions.
Okay, great. All right, so we looked at key partners, key activities, key resources. Now, all of this, these three boxes on the left-hand side, top left, is going to cost money. So you need to write down the cost in that box. What will the key activities, resources, and key partners together, bring us down to? What are those numbers? What will they cost like? Because each one of them will have a cost factor to it, right? So you want to write down the most expensive key activities and resources. You also want to write down the fixed and variable cost over here in this box. Because let's say for this tech consulting company, it's again going to be, the key activities and resources are, developers, right? Or cloud developers. So that's going to be their most expensive resource, but you also want to write down other variable costs, right? That like let's say software subscriptions. If you're using Zoom, right? You're paying for Zoom, but it's not, of course, substantial. But anything that's a substantial cost, office lease, right? Okay, a lot of people are not leasing office, maybe a bad example. But anything that is a major cost, you want to write that down. Whether it's fixed or variable, you want to put it down. All right, I think that brings us to the questions. We are 10 minutes away, and I would like to open the room to
the
questions.
floor out.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So we have like view, I would say, let me talk on behalf of few of the questions what have come, but before I do that, viewers, please give your questions to Supriya. Supriya is here, and after that we can there's always a way that you can come back to us on this platform. But while she's here, I would recommend to ask any specific questions around your business. Do you have an idea and you're trying to make your idea better, or already you're a business person, and is there any something missing? And will building this business model canvas for you help you? I mean, in some way, do you want us to help you build this business model canvas? And if it is, what is that specific element in those 9 key things? Of course, anybody. So let it be cost structure, revenue streams, key activities, partners. Can you ask any specific questions in all these areas in the meantime? So and put your questions in the comment box, and I'll relay them to Supriya right now while she's here with us right now. So Supriya, one question what was popping up in the mind while you were talking is structuring a cost is a very tough task. There are and it creates some confusion, to be very honest, right? So even for Evalbia, when we were thinking, is it like it's going to be a subscription based model? Because we are a platform where we generate mentors, and we generate value by providing mentorship. We generate value by providing learning at an affordable cost. So we were always worried about how should we do it? Is it going to be subscription based, or it's going to be person to person based, right? Probably you can answer my question along with one more question what Sanjay is asking, that how much time does it take to do all this exercise, and what aspects should we look in what aspects should we look to accelerate? I mean, that's the question what Sanjay
so the
is
way
asking.
you do
Along
this,
with that, yeah.
I'll take Sanjay's question first, and I'll take your question next, Raghav, if that's fine. So basically, the time it takes to complete this exercise or this business model canvas is a couple of sessions, maybe like 5 or 6. And the way you want to do it is collaboratively with at least with your executive team, where you sit and you kind of work, with me in a way that, you are sticking your post-it notes in each box, and you're completing that. And then once you've completed the BMC, you can look at it very holistically, that where we are. And once it's complete, you keep removing those post-it notes or sticking newer ones or editing those existing ones to make sure that whatever change you are incorporating in your company is now reflected in the BMC. So it's like a ever constantly changing business plan. Of course, in early stage startups, always you go through a lot of change very fast, very quickly. You want to be able to note that and keep that constantly on the board. So I do use tools where I help startups do exactly this, where they can complete their BMC model and make sure that they keep reviewing it and revising it. So I walk them through that. And I think it could be like 6 sessions or something. But I will have to do a discovery call with them, and right after this session they can actually click on this link, and there's a button, Raghav, you want to show them. They can either click that hire me button and book a discovery call with me, and in that discovery call I'll just figure out what their needs are, and then we can decide.
I'm just putting that link right now.
Sure.
So that's the link what viewer Supriya is telling. So you click on that link. Actually, it's a very Calendly specific link. You
Raghav,
can,
sorry, if you can also just quickly copy paste this link in the chat box. I think that
I did that already.
Yeah, cool. All right. And then
so I did that particular link in the chat box. So what Supriya is exactly telling, you can go ahead and click hire me here, and that would bring up an eval BI specific discovery call window, you can specifically, it might show my name or Supriya's name, because either of us, because I'll once it comes through me, I have her schedule on my schedule. I'll be moderating her. So this I'll coordinate with her and get the schedule done. But she'll be taking the call. But she will be taking the discovery call.
So if we don't have any other question, I'll come to your question, Raghav, which was around cost structure, right?
Yeah.
So depending on, like I said, there are different ways to approach the BMC model, right? And you start with your value prop or customer segments, and you eventually make your way to the cost structure. And that's only when you can say, okay, this is what my cost is going to be. So whether it's a subscription model, or it's a P2P model, or any kind of model that you have already decided beforehand, and you've nailed that before in the earlier building blocks of the model. Because
Okay.
once you've done that, only then you'll make your way to the cost structure.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a learning curve, what you have to go through.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
At this point, I don't think there are any other questions. I think it's let's do one round of question. Let me ask our viewers if there are any other questions. Please put in your comments, and we'll have Supriya answer them right now. Or otherwise, there is a link in the chat box which you can click. I mean, I can quickly show how it goes. It takes you to this particular page, and you can click on Hire Me, and it will redirect you to our discovery call here. And the discovery call is going to help you specifically. It's going to show my name, but it's going to redirect to Supriya automatically here. Okay, it's going to be around 30 minutes, and it's going to be a discovery call for where we learn about each other, and also as Supriya said, there will be few more questions, and there will be a certain process out of it, or a next steps out of it will be evaluated from that.
Right. And if anybody is wanting the deck, then please post your email, as we did not have the emails before. If you'd like the deck, then please put your emails in the chat box, and we'll make sure you have the deck.
Absolutely. So if anybody wants the deck, why don't you just put your email right now in the comments box, and I'll have the deck sent out to you. I mean, I'll personally send it out to you for the deck.
All right.
Otherwise, I think thanks a lot, Supriya, for taking this time on a Sunday afternoon. I know you've been coughing a couple of times. I know we've spoke about last night. You were a little not well, but thank you for taking this time, and hope we meet again on this platform. We really loved you having here. Thanks a lot.
No, and thank you for the opportunity that Eval BI gave me, Raghav. And thank you to all who have attended this session. I hope you did get some value out of it.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Thank you
until next time, take care, everybody. Yes, bye-bye.
We have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.